One of the most shocking scenes in The Matrix was when Neo lifted his hand and destroyed Sentinels in the real world, revealing that his abilities were not limited to the simulation. In Matrix Resurrections, will he continue to develop new abilities? What were those programs that Tank refused to upload to Neo? And where do the machines find the materials to create more machines? In this series of videos, we try to answer Matrix questions submitted by you, the subscribers. Welcome to Matrix Explained.
Welcome to the desert of the real.
Today's first question comes from the History. Before Neo learned to fight, he must learn the operation program that Tank refuses because it is not fun. What's that? What consequence to the fact that he didn't learn? Did he miss part of his formation? If yes, which part?
Supposed to start with these operation programs first. That's Major Barton Shed. Let's do something a little more fun. How about combat training?
What was this other information that Tank finds boring? This operation program is introductory. Tank is not randomly uploading programs to Neo. Neo is going through the process of becoming a Zion soldier. What Tank is doing is putting Neo through some kind of boot camp. Since the Zion hierarchy and its army are similar to that of the United States Army, we kind of have an idea what was in that program. Army basic training is divided into 3 phases. 1. Theory, 2. Training, and 3. Tests. What exactly is in that operation program? The theory stage of army training says, this is the first true phase of your process of becoming a soldier and adapting to life in the army. During this phase, you will receive your general orientation and receive your army uniform, along with an army-issued haircut. You will also learn how to comport yourself as a soldier and be expected to recite the warrior ethos and soldier's creed. You will receive briefings on basic first aid. This phase also includes physical readiness training, road marches, confidence building, and formation marching. You will also receive an introduction into chemical, radioactive, biology, and nuclear readiness, which will include the proper usage of breathing masks. And at the end of this phase, you will receive an army-issued patch to be worn on the left shoulder of your uniform. Based on this information, the Red Pills is given history and philosophy lessons. They learn about the social structure of the city and the army's mission. This operation program could be the documented information that we saw in the Animatrix. The Second Renaissance, where the events of the machine war are narrated. How do we know this? Before the history of the war is shown, an AI can be heard saying what the Zion archives are.
Welcome to the Zion Archive. You have selected historical file number 12-1. The Second Renaissance.
This initiation program must include the history of the war and the citizen's code of behavior. It is then followed by combat and skill training, and then mock battles in the construct. Maybe Neo learned the theory portion later, off screen, but if he never learned it, he would have something else in common with Kid, because he didn't finish his training either.
Kid, I didn't finish the training program.
The next question comes from Stephen Watson. In the original trilogy, Neo was able to destroy Sentinels. In this one, we see him use a shockwave on them. The same shockwave that he used on Morpheus in the Dojo sim. I believe he is discovering that he has more powers in the real world. Do you think Resurrections could end with Neo discovering he can do things that he shouldn't be able to do in the real world, and the implications that would have? So in the trailer, we see the machines taking care of Neo, whose eyes are still burned. Then in another scene, we see Trinity plugged in. Later, Neo wakes up, and what we think is going to happen is that when Neo wakes up Trinity, the machines try to stop them. They are being attacked by Sentinels. Neo and Trinity have cables plugged into their bodies. Neo uses his hand to stop the Sentinel. This machine discharges electricity and throws sparks, similar to the Sentinels that Neo destroyed in the original trilogy. But if you look closely at what is happening, Neo is causing these mechanical malfunctions and is moving the machine with his hand, as if he had telekinesis in the real world. In the original trilogy, Neo is shown to have the ability to overload Sentinels and have telekinesis in the Matrix. But at no point did we see him move anything with his mind in the real world. This may be a new ability that he will obtain. This would change everything. Neo overloading machines with his mind is something that we can't explain. He was able to use a wireless signal to hack into the Sentinels and destroy them. But there is no logical way to explain telekinesis in the real world unless Neo learns to control the machine's movements. If Neo can move objects with his mind in the real world, this could mean that the real world is not so real, or that Neo is a supernatural entity or some kind of god. If he were to fly in the real world, this would certainly give fuel to the theory that the real world is part of the simulation. Near the end of Matrix Resurrections, Neo demonstrating abilities that were only thought to be possible in the Matrix would be something similar to Reloaded. Still, it would be an interesting twist because it would revive the debate of if the real world is real or not. And our last question of the day comes from Dwayne Coggins. Can you please explain where the machines get the materials and how they are making Sentinels? We've talked about the process of machines creating machines in a previous video. To summarize, there came a point in history where humans delegated everything to machines. Machines dug giant tunnels beneath the cities to mine and transport materials and resources. These tunnels are in the movies. It is through these underground tunnels that the Zion ships travel. Machines created an infrastructure in megacities to make it easy to transport these materials, and this gave them an advantage during the machine war. Also, before the war, the machines already had an entire system to create new machines in City 01, which also appears in Animatrix. Therefore, after the war, the machines did not have to create a system to obtain materials or build factories. They already had everything they needed. They simply continued to grow and perfect their stronghold and resource management. The people of Zion are the ones who have to work hard to get what they need. To make their weapons and ships, Zion must collect and recycle old technology from destroyed cities. There is a Matrix comic that shows that there is a group of Zion inhabitants who are scavengers. They venture far and beyond to find useful tech that they can use. So developing technology is much more difficult for Zion than for the machines. But do you agree? Will Neo develop new abilities in the real world in Matrix Resurrections? Leave in the comments below what other questions you would like us to answer. For Matrix Explained, please leave a like and subscribe. And thank you for visiting the Desert of the Real.